What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the PS5 Career Mode. This is episode number 48. And we start today's episode by seeing that two other youth players are unsettled. As you can see, our academy has been getting thinner and thinner throughout the course of the season due to players being promoted to the first team. I did release a couple of players, and I know some of you guys will be sitting there thinking, why? Like, okay, their potentials might not be in the highest, but they'd still probably show great potential, if not have like high 70 overall potential. The reason being is because when you have like a squad and a young squad as well, you might have noticed this when you sign a lot of young players. Sometimes you'll notice their players' valuation has dropped, just when you've brought them in, and that's because EA tend to try and minimize the sheer amount of players that have super high potential. So I've always found the best way for us to get better players out of the academy that show higher potential. So we're looking at exciting prospect or potential to be special, like a couple of players have in our team, such as this man Charles Ball, finally returning to first team training after the 3-month broken toe he had, and Big Josh as well, is to limit the amount of youth players you'll put into the team in a short space of time. So a couple of players got released because again they were the lowest of the potential ranges. We did promote Park and also Obi, a Nigerian fullback that looks really good as well. I love the hairstyle he's got too, but also Park as well. Of course I would love for him to become a Park G sign. He's got a long way to go, but again the high work rates to start off with. I think he got 4-star skill moves and 3-star weak foot or the other way around, and again I'm going to try my best to make this guy a really physical player. Not just with a little bit of pace, most importantly, train his stamina up as quickly as I can. He's got the exciting prospect tag. I'm very excited. Still, for the first game of today's episode here, taking on Everton at home on the back of our victory against West Bromwich Albion. Obviously, a bit of an interesting time for us now, because unlike the previous two seasons, and I suppose season one as well, not really season one, because again that was all about the league towards the end of the campaign, trying to get promoted and go up automatically. In the end, of course, we had to settle for a playoff place, so that's how we got promotion in season one. Now we're out of the FA Cup. The past two seasons, reaching the final, of course, last year, winning it after losing in season two, and going out in the Europa League to Bayer Leverkusen last episode as well. It now all becomes about league football, and there's no more midweek games to play, which is a real bonus for us heading into the closing stages of the season. So heading into this game against Everton here, looking for back-to-back victories, and we get it as well. 2-0 the final score. Abrechi's, by the way, that was his 10th goal of the season. He's been fantastic this year. And as you can see right now, 5th place in the table. We're 4 points clear of Aston Villa in 6th place right now. You're still behind Spurs, who also had the game in hand as well, as we close out March. The race for 4th place is still very much on. I often use this saying, blessing in disguise. First of all, I often use it incorrectly, and I often use it too many times. But blessing in disguise, I think that's what this end of season is feeling like. There's no cups anymore. There's no Europa League to try and get to the final. There's no FA Cups to try and retain it. It is just purely Premier League football between now and the end of the season. There are now 6 games to go. You take a look at the top scorer, assists and clean sheets charts as well. Bull, after coming back there against Everton and getting an assist, he's now tied with Jack Grealish with 13. And Ketty is still leading the way in the race for the Golden Boot. And Woodman as well, only 1 clean sheet behind Edison and Allison now after that latest one against the Toffees. By the way, Eddie Nketiah, he's only got 1 fewer assists than Charles and Jack Grealish this season as well. He might pull an Ivan Toney this year, not get 40 goals in the Premier League season. I don't think I'll ever do that ever again, but he could win the assist title as well as the Golden Boot. Don't want to jinx it, but he's got a genuine chance to do it. But yeah, I do feel as though going out the Europa League in the round of 16 against Leverkusen, as disastrous as that was, and also getting knocked out by Arsenal, also in the round of 16 in the FA Cup as well, they've sort of been blessing in disguises, because now, in the upcoming Premier League games, there's no midweek games to fit in. If we were still in the FA Cup, we'd have extra games to squeeze in, what would be the quarters, and if we were to get there, then the semi as well. Of course, if we're still in the Europa League, we'd have the quarters, we'd have the semis if we were to get there as well. But instead now, it's just we get 7 days rest. We get a whole week's rest between the next game, and that's really important for, again, a decent team. But it is worth pointing out, whilst we've got a lot of depth, there's not a lot of quality in depth in this team. So taking on Southampton for the second of 4 games in today's episode here, taking the early lead through Noni Majuk, getting his 2nd goal in 3 games, making it 1-0. Southampton would battle back. Ralph Hasenhüttl side find a leveller through Kelechi Iheanacho, the former Leicester and Man City striker. Got to say, as much as I love Freddie Woodman, should have stopped that one there. It was a really tame effort towards the near post, but unfortunately unfortunately couldn't get anything on it. And 34 minutes in, Cameron Wilkinson going down. This was a troubling sign to see. Cameron is a real unsung hero in this team. He does the dirty work in the defensive midfield position, but sadly goes down there clutching his knee. I knew it was bad as soon as I saw that right arm get extended there and cover his face. He didn't want to show the tears, Cameron, but he knows, yeah, there's no doubt about it, that season ending. So he's forced off the pitch, but a few minutes later we'd return and get ourselves back in front, make it 2-1, and it's Eddie Nketiah with the goal. He really wants that golden boot after missing out on it last year by 2 to Mohamed Salah. Puts us back in front, we lead by a goal, and in the second half it was a really uneventful second half after a crazy action-packed first half. Not much in the second half, but 4 minutes to go, a chance to wrap the game up, get a 2-goal cushion and make it 3-1. Noni Majuk steps in from the right, and I don't know how on earth he found the space here in the middle. He did. Majuk goes through, slots it in. That is now again his 3rd goal in 3 games. Noni Majuk really picking up at a crucial stage of this season. So 3-1 the final score, back-to-back victories as we extend the winning run. That is now, I believe, 5 straight wins in all competitions, even though one of those wins was the victory over Leverkusen in Germany, that of course still saw us get knocked out of the Europa League, but still it counts a victory. So it's 5 straight wins in all competitions for Queen's Park Rangers. Everything going according to plan. So of course, as soon as I say that, you know you're going to see some bad news, and there it is. We already knew it though. Cameron Wilkinson, he went down in that game, has dislocated his shoulder, and he is going to be out for 2 months, which means he'll come back for the start of next season, but of course we'll miss the remainder of this one. I'm kind of disappointed as well. He's only grown to 71 overall. I'm sure the way I'm developing him, changing him from a centre-back to a defensive midfielder, and also giving him the ball-winning midfielder role development plan as well, is hampering his growth a little bit in the overall rating, but to only be 71 overall, you saw his stats there. He does the dirty work in this team, and he does it really well, so that's quite disappointing. He'll miss the rest of the season though, and again, quite a big blow that, because Cameron might be the lowest rated starting player in our usual first 11, but is a really important part of our squad. So Wilkinson done for the season, and for our 3rd game of 4 in today's episode, taking on the Gunners, having a truly bizarre season right now here as they come and take us on. They're still in the bottom half of the table, yet they're also in the Champions League semi-final as well. So heading into the game, they seem to have just given up on the lead. They picked a really, I wouldn't necessarily say a weak team, but loads of rotation to the team, loads of academy players getting chances in this game. Thought we'd taken the lead early through Eddie Nketiah, who I need to rename him Eddie Offside Nketiah, because he's always offside. You know how disallowed goals this guy scores is crazy, man. Thought we made it 1-0 there, but sadly the flag was up. Again, a very tight one though, but it was probably the correct decision as it was still 0-0. And 10 minutes after the restart, looking to get the breakthrough and get ourselves in front. And really, I felt we were firm favourites in this game, with the form of both teams domestically this season, and of course Arsenal having a lot of academy players out there. Still tied at 0-0 though, and 20 minutes after the restart, still looking for that first goal of the game. Eddie slides Charles down left hand side. I spot the run Eze, gets ahead of McGuinness and volleys it past Leno, beats the German, and finally we have ourselves the opening goal of the game and get ourselves in front. If you guys want a tip from me for gameplay this year on how to get a relatively simple goal, my best bit of advice would be this. When you go down the wing with a player, and a fast player as well, don't be afraid to hit in an early cross to the centre, because the forwards seem to always be able to outpace the men in the back line, regardless of what pace they have. I do know Eze is a very quick player, of course, and the crosses are so accurate in this year's FIFA if they're whipped in to the centre. Don't float them. Don't aim for a head in the middle, aim for a volley, because they are just so OP when you whip them in like that. So 1-0 the final score, 5 straight wins in all competitions, sorry, 6 straight wins even in all competitions, but despite that being the case, so frustrating. We keep winning, yet Spurs are doing the same. Every single game we've played, they've always had the game in hand, because we've played a game extra right now, yet they've continued to match our results and get the wins on the same weekend as we do as well. So despite these successive wins here again, 5 or 6 in all competitions in a row, we're still 4 points behind Spurs, and they still have the game in hand. It has been so frustrating knowing that we've been picking up big wins, just beating Arsenal, we've beaten Chelsea, beating Everton in this run as well, yet it counts for very little because Spurs keep on matching our results. We're still 4 points behind, they've still got the game in hand for our final game of today's episode, taking on the champions Liverpool away at Anfield. We're now top of the table, and if they were to win this game, that would basically do it, possibly mathematically, if the Red Devils would slip up on the Sunday. So they sensed the title was in their grasp once again. I thought to myself, I know we're probably going to lose this game, but at least do your best. And unfortunately, what do I do early in the first half? Like an idiot, trying to play out from the back, get the ball away, and Bobby Firmino turns in from close range. Silly. You know, in these sort of games, you're taught this, be tight, be composed, keep your concentration, don't give them easy goals. I gave them a very easy goal there, Liverpool in front 1-0, and despite the early chance of ball, the fact of the matter is, there was a clear disparity in quality of teams in this game. We have shown so much progression throughout the course of the save so far, this being our 4th season, but already trying to knock on the door for a Champions League place. The growth of our players has been incredible. But listen, there's still a big gap between us and the likes of Liverpool. Yes, our record against big teams this season has been really impressive. We've beaten Chelsea, we've beaten Arsenal, we've beaten both Manchester clubs as well. But the fact of the matter is we're still weaker than all of these boys I've just mentioned there. Liverpool win the game by 2-0. Definitely deserved it. Again, stats very deceptive. It really was one side. They could have won the game by 3 or 4 really. And because of that win there, they've basically wrapped it up now officially. They're only 1 point away in their final 3 games, from retaining the title. Whereas for us, Spurs still have the game in hand, and after they won on the weekend as well, and we lost for the first time after 6 straight wins, unfortunately, we're now 7 points behind with 3 games to go. We can't catch 4th now. Champions League football will not be at the Kind Prince Foundation Stadium, and Europa League football might not be there either unless we return to winning ways with our final 3 Premier League games coming against Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, and first, Wolves as well. But that was this episode of the PS5 Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you had, please drop a like. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the season finale of our 4th season with QPR very soon.